welcome back to DIY Boomboxes in Texas. My name is Phil, your host. Here's a co-host named Duke, of course. He decided to join us today. Okay, I'm going to be doing something a little different today. I have gotten a lot of questions about installing a radio and speakers in a cooler by one of the members of my Facebook group called I Love All Things Radio. And as I've told you before, that's the best way to contact me and ask me questions, is to join our group and join our discussion. We have a lot of talks about installing all kinds of things, new products, new speakers, different way of building things. And she had quite a few questions, and I figured it was easier to answer the questions here on a video than try to explain everything through text and pictures. So her name is Deneen. So hi, Deneen. And Duke says hello. And this video is just for you, and anybody else, you're more than welcome to watch, and hopefully y'all will learn something. So let me get Duke out of the way so I can readjust the camera here and get the cooler set up, and we'll get started. So we'll be right back. Okay, everybody, let me adjust the camera here a little bit. Now, let me make sure you're going to be able to see what I'm seeing. Okay, I'm going to do my best here. Lighting is not perfect. Alright, Deneen, first thing you're going to need to do is, now I know this is not the cooler you're using, but all coolers are pretty much made the same and are the same material. They have a hard plastic on the outside, hard plastic on the inside. As you can see right here by this cutout, there's this foam right here on the inside. So let me give you rule number one. When you start cutting into this cooler, this foam is going to go everywhere. It's going to make a big mess. So you need to cut this outside, not in the garage, because it's going to make a big mess. And try not to do it on a windy day because this stuff is going to go everywhere. I also suggest that you please wear safety glasses. That's number one. And number two, wear some sort of a dust mask like this, because you really don't want to be breathing these little bitty particles in here. And if any of you guys do any kind of cutting, safety glasses are a must. You really have to have safety glasses. Okay, now I'm not exactly sure what tools you have available at your disposal. Now you can do this with a Dremel tool, but it would be a lot harder because you only be cutting through one layer at a time. So now this is a cordless model that I have, but you can use a corded one just fine. Matter of fact, this hole was cut with a corded one. You're going to need a jigsaw, and just a regular jigsaw will work. Now, you could use a wood cutting blade, but actually I would use one of the blades that are made for, they do make blades for plastic, and that's the blade that I would use. It's kind of got, the teeth are in between a metal blade and a wood blade, because a wood blade is really the teeth are too far apart, and a metal blade would do it, but the teeth are so fine it would really take you forever to cut the holes. So look for them. They do make blades for cutting plastic, so that's what I would look into. They're not that expensive. Now what you're going to do is, for cutting your speakers out, what I would do first is I would actually take the cover or the grill off the speaker itself and lay it where you want to have your speaker. And I would go ahead and try to center it in the opening there. And as you can see, I don't know if you probably have a pencil line right here, and that's the pencil line that I traced on the outside of the speaker grill. Then you're going to probably get a template showing you how to cut the hole. And what I did was I put the template, I cut it out, I put it here on the hole, and I centered it inside the line right there. Now to cut your hole out with your jigsaw, obviously you're going to drill a hole, right over here somewhere, and insert your jigsaw blade and just ever so slowly cut around the hole. And again, this foam is going to go everywhere, so you really do not even want to do this in your garage. You want to do this outside, because it does make a mess. So that's the best way to make your speakers holes. Now the radio hole is going to be the same way. Now your radio is going to come with a metal sleeve, and what you want to do is take that metal sleeve and level it wherever you want to put your radio, left or right. I'll use this just as an example. I'll use this amp right here. And you're going to put that right there. I'll tell you what, as a matter of fact, I have a radio. Let me go get that radio real quick. I didn't think about it. And I'll be right back. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm back. Let me move this out of the way. This is an old not Pioneer. This is an old Boss radio that I still have. Now, what you're going to do is when you get your radio, it's going to have this plastic trim piece right here. It's just going to pop that trim piece off. And you want to be careful. You don't want to break these little tabs off right here. You want to set this aside out of the way. Now you can see there's this sleeve that goes all the way around the radio. And the way you get that off is you're going to have these little keys. They're going to go inside these little slots right here on either side of the radio. So you're going to put the keys in there. I hope these are the right keys for this radio. Looks like they are. And with those keys inserted, they unlock the sleeve here. As you can see, the sleeve is coming off the radio. This one's a little tight because it is used, but it should go a lot smoother on a brand new radio. Okay, once you get that done, you set the radio aside, and don't lose these little keys. You're going to need those one day if you ever want to change the radio out. So make sure you don't throw these away. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take your cooler, you're going to take this metal sleeve, and you see it's got a side here that's a little bit wider than you have a narrow side. You want to put the wide side right there on your cooler, and you want to get you a level, a bubble level, and level your radio and level your cooler. Make sure they're both level. Or you can take a tape measure and you can measure a certain distance to this side, put a pencil mark. Like let's say you wanted, okay, I want it to be, you measure down this side, then line up your pencil marks. Then what you want to do is take a pencil or a marker, pencil works better, and you want to trace the outline as carefully as possible. You want to have somebody hold this in place. And actually, it probably work even better if you had it standing up like this. Then what you would do is you want to trace the inside, not the outside, trace the inside of the brackets. Okay, all the way around as square as you can possibly get it. But do not do the outside, you've got to do the inside. Now, once you have your rectangle, now I'm not drawing on this cooler because I'm going to use this cooler for something else later. So you're going to, once you have your rectangle, you want to go ahead and maybe take like a red Sharpie, because this is, you're not going to see this line when the radio is in. You won't see it at all. Take like a red Sharpie and outline this where you can see it. Once you do that, you're going to take and drill you a hole in one corner of where the radio slot goes. You're going to take your jigsaw and ever so carefully trace out that line. Be as carefully as you can. If you can, stay on the inside of the line as much as possible. Once the hole is cut out, take your bracket and kind of do a test fit and see if it'll go in there. Now look, if the bracket might fit on one side, not the other, kind of look where it goes. And then take you a marker and kind of mark where you need to cut. And again, you can always take more off, but you cannot put it back. If you make this hole too big, you're in trouble, because it has to fit on a real fine lip right here. So you got in these little tabs, so it's a really tight tolerances. You have to do that. So just take your time, cut a little bit, fit it, cut a little bit, fit it, and you could even maybe take a razor blade or a utility knife like this and just kind of scrape just a little bit at a time and take a little bit off. Or even take a hacksaw blade and just kind of trim it real careful. Or if you have a Dremel tool, you can even take a Dremel and trim it a little bit. Now, once you have your bracket fitting inside the slot, there's these little tabs right here that bend up. And you want to bend these tabs up when it's inside the cooler. And what these tabs are going to do is that's going to keep the bracket from falling out and keep your radio from falling out. So that's what you need to do. So anyway, that's how you install the radio. And give me just a minute, make sure this is still recording. Yep, still is. Been having trouble with my batteries going dead on me. So that's how you install the bracket. Now let me show you how you're going to install your switches. Well, I guess the other thing I need to tell you about is installing the antenna, but it's going to be very similar to installing the switches. So now your cooler is going to be a little bit different than this one. This one has this rim here, and this area right here is actually not insulated, so the plastic is not that thick. But your cooler might have insulation right here, so what you're going to have to do is, tell you what, I'm going to move the camera real quick off its base, and so I can get a better shot of this, and I'm not going to turn it off, but I want to edit it. Okay. Now, let me turn this, open this real quick. Now, as you can see, right here, especially right here, you see where I've had to drill a small hole here and a larger hole here on the back, and you see right here where the switch goes through. What you're going to do is, on the outside, you're going to drill your small hole for your switch. So you make sure you get that right down, but don't go too far in. You can go all the way through, but what you're going to have to do is, you're going to take a paddle bit and widen the hole on the back side, as you can see here. So you can see over here I've had to widen it so the switch will stick through, because you're going to have that thick insulation, so the switch is barely going to stick through. I wish I had one of my buddy's coolers here to show you, but I didn't think about that. So that's what you're going to have to do, is you're going to drill both sides. As you can see how thick the insulation is there. So you're going to have to make the bottom hole wider, the inside hole wider, so you'll be able to get your terminals and everything on your switches. As you can see right there how the hole is bigger on the back side, and of course the same right there. Now, as far as your battery on the inside, let me go ahead and put this back on the base here. Oh, making noise. Now, as far as your battery goes, what I would do is, let me see if I have some here. Well, I had some. I don't know what happened to it. There it is. I like this industrial Velcro. Now, what you can do is simply use brackets to hold the battery down. I like this Velcro, and you can Velcro the bottom and one side and kind of stick it towards the back corner, or you can try to center it. And this Velcro is very, very strong. It's made for outdoors industrial use, and it's very, very sticky. And this is what I use to hold my batteries in place. It's about $11 for maybe 15 or 20 feet, and it's a really good deal. Now, when it comes to wiring your radio, let me show you right here real quick. Let me get this out of the way. What you're going to do is, you have your 3 power wires. So you're going to have your yellow and red, and the yellow wire is normally what powers the radio. That's what gives you power. So the yellow wire is going to go straight to the battery. So that's how you're going to hook that one up. And also your black wire is going to go straight to the battery as well for your ground. So you got your positive and your negative. Now this red wire, what you're going to do for it is you're going to run a wire from the battery. Then it's going to go to your switch. And let me show you your switch right here. I don't know how well you can see that. It's got 3 pins on it. It's got a brass terminal, then 2 silver terminals. One of the silver terminals is the hot wire coming in from the battery. And then the second center terminal is going to be the wire going from the switch to this red wire. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow you to turn your radio on and off. It's just like the ignition switch in your car. When this switch is off, the radio cannot come on accidentally. So that's a great feature to have. The other thing you want to try to do is put a fuse in the line, especially between the yellow wire and the battery. That way if there's any kind of a problem with the battery or any kind of a short, it'll blow that fuse and it won't damage your radio. Now you're going to have 4 speaker wires coming out. You're going to have gray and white and purple and green. Now the purple and your green wires are going to be normally for your rear channels, and the gray and the white are going to be your front channels. What I do is, you can see there, I went ahead and taped these off because I only had 2 speakers, and you're only going to have 2 speakers, so you don't need all 4 wires. And you're just going to use the purple ones and the green ones for your hookup. Now, when you decide to hook up an amplifier later on, if you feel you need one, you want the amplifier to come on at the same time as the radio. So most radios have a blue antenna like this one right here that says power antenna or remote power. And what this wire does is it's mainly used if you have a power antenna on your car to raise the antenna when the radio comes on, but it also sends juice down to the wire for your amplifier. So this will turn on the amplifier when you turn on your radio. So that's about all I really have to say right now. I'm not really sure, but like I said, let me show you when you're. Now what I would do is this harness does come unplugged, so I would go ahead and hook all your wires up first, then plug them into the radio. Now also when you hook up an amp, you're going to have your RCA jacks back here. You're not going to use the speaker wires. Instead, and these are your inputs, I'm sorry, for your amplifier. And then you're going to have the speaker wires coming off the amp going to your speakers as well. So you're not going to use the speaker wires at all when you have an amplifier hooked up. Now, once you have the bracket inside the cooler, all you're going to have to do is the radio is just, well, I got this backwards. Wild with the car radio, haven't I? Boy, who's the teacher here? All right, Dunning, sorry. It's going to slide right in, and you're going to hear it lock. Once it's locked, the radio is locked inside the bracket, and you'll need these keys if you want to take it back out. And you go ahead and just pop on your trim piece. Just be careful with it, and that's going to cover up that metal bracket that goes around the cooler there, and you'll be ready to roll. Just make sure you do not hook up your battery until everything is hooked up and you're ready to go, because you don't want to actually short something out or cross something, so you don't want to have the battery live. Now you can still hook up stuff to the battery as long as you got a fuse, going there first. That way if it blows the fuse, that's what happens. Now your cooler hopefully will look something like this. Now this one here has a radio inside, and it's got the Boss 6.5-inch speakers, and you can see how I did that. And of course, here's the inside of mine, and there's all the switches coming out and everything. Got the amplifier, batteries in the bottom, and that's actually my antenna, that wire that's looping around there. Now, speaking of antenna, let me show you real quick here. Well, I don't have it with me anymore, but what you're going to do for your antenna is you're going to do the similar setup as you did on your switches. I would go ahead and put the antenna on the back, and what you're going to do is you're going to drill a hole for the antenna, and you're going to have to drill a bigger hole on the inside for the antenna to be able to latch on to this plastic right here, because it's not going to be deep enough to go all the way through and latch on. So it's not a hard project. Main thing is just take your time, and especially when it comes to cutting these holes, because you can always make the hole bigger. You can't ever make it smaller. And just take your time and get it done. I think I made this one with a hole saw, actually, but I had to make it a little bigger because the Marine speakers are a little bit bigger than the stock speakers for the hole. So I did cut this one out with my electric jigsaw. And I think it came out pretty good. What I'm going to do with this one is I'm actually going to be installing some larger 6.5-inch speakers. I wasn't happy with the 5.25-inch speakers that I had in here, and I ended up using those in another project, but I found these JVC Marine speakers that are awesome. This box is still going to be Bluetooth only, because my other box has a radio in it, because some people like just Bluetooth. They don't listen to the radio, they listen to everything on their phone. So anyway, that's it. I really don't know what else to say. Looks like I've covered everything on my list here. So if y'all have any questions, or Deneen, if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them, and if I have to, I'll shoot another video for you. But thanks for watching, guys, and if you have a question for me or you'd like to join the discussion, please check us out at I Love All Things Radio. I'm going to put the address right here on the bottom of the screen. And also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's DIY_boom_boxes. And all my projects are posted on Instagram. And we have a great group of people on my Facebook page. We just hit over 300 members. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And please subscribe to my channel. I have, oh gosh, I've lost track. At least 5 projects coming up back to back real soon. I'm actually in a boombox building contest right now on Instagram, and I'm going to be doing a pretty awesome project. That'll be up at the end of the month. I've also got the Star Wars box. I have another ladies box. And I have another ammo box that I'm working on that'll be finished hopefully by tomorrow. And just got a lot going on. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for supporting me and supporting my channel. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to help. And if you would like me to build you a boom box, if you think, hey man, that's just too much for me, because there is quite the investment in tools. You really have to have a lot. You can see, I'll show you guys my new workstation here. I don't know if you can see it here. I put some cubby holes here and some stuff here for all my tools and everything. Trying to get organized. Still got some wires laying everywhere. But I'm trying to get more organized here and have more room to work on my builds. So, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget, subscribe to that channel. There's more videos coming. A lot of exciting stuff coming up. And thank you again for watching. And Duke, I don't know where Duke went. He's around here somewhere. But you guys have a great weekend. Thank you.